Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and all other configurations of being, before we got started with today's video, I wanted to give y'all a little bit of a heads up. Now, you remember how in the last video I was saying that I had technically three of the technical 4 different variations of slash? Well, within like a day or two after I recorded that video, someone online wound up posting the last slash that I needed for to complete the set online for sale for a reasonable price. So, you are now looking at the proud owner of not just the purple belt red S yellow bellied slash, but also of the mustard bellied red belt yellow S slash, along with this one that I put together myself, the yellow bellied black belt yellow S slash, which again, it's unconfirmed whether that's actually a variant or whether it is what it is. Regardless, I've got him. And now I finally have red belt mustard bellied yellow S slash in all his glory. So yes, friends, just so y'all know that I'm not doing any kind of weird camera editing tricks or anything, I do actually now own, in fact, I didn't realize I had my, there we go, I was dropping the wrong figure. But yeah, now I have all 4 of the different slash variants. And again, I could be wrong about this particular color combination. I just put them together that way because, as I've stated several times before, I just happened to have an extra belt of that kind, and I got an extra yellow-bellied slash that came in with a lot of different figures. Also, another thing that's kind of different about my red belt yellow S slash over here is his weapons are gummy. And what I mean by that is okay, see the weapon with this one, his knife here? It's very stiff plastic. Actually, a better example of that would be, well, anyway, you see it's really stiff plastic. The one that came with my new figure over here, it's the exact same knife, but with this one, you can bend it over like a piece of candy, and it just springs back. The same with his spiky nunchucks, the same with his little dagger, and I think it's even the same with, yep, it's the same with his mace. I'm not going to bend it much farther than that because I don't want to break it. But all the rest of the accessories with my other figures, I believe, let me double check the mace on this one. Okay, that mace is kind of gummy. Oh, okay, and his nunchuck things are also kind of gummy. So, but yeah, these are really gummy. I've never come across, to this point, a slash with accessories like that. So that is pretty interesting. Anyway, with that said, let's move on with the show. Okay, so after that lovely little intro from my other self, or myself, it's the me that you saw moments ago with all the different slash figures. For this video, I'm just going to preface this and say I'm sorry that the last one was so long and winded and overblown and bloated. So for this video, I'm going to chop it up into at least 2 parts. This one, which is going to focus on 10 figures from this wave, and then the next one, which is going to focus on the other 10. Now what I mean by that is, for those of you who are like, wait a minute, they didn't release that many figures in 1991, the 1991 wave. As I've mentioned in several of these videos, there are variants. And because of the variants, there are technically 20, I believe. I could be wrong. There might be variants of a couple of the other figures I have here that I just don't have yet. So with that being said, take that with a grain of salt. So today's video is going to focus on one half of those variants, the originals of these figures. And then the next video is going to focus on the variants, the color differences and stuff. So with that said, let's get into it. Alright, to start this particular video off, we are going to start with this particular figure. Now I hold in my hands a sumo wrestler by the name of Tattoo, who, as you can probably tell, happens to have a lot of, well, tattoos. And that's because, canonically, this guy was able to summon his tattoos to help him fight against the villains. Actually, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this on pause for just a second, because for one thing I just noticed there was a long hair stuck to one of these figures. And for another, I'm going to quickly reacquaint myself with the character history on Tattoo over there. Okay, and the Virtual Ninja Turtle Museum, which is the website that I use as a resource for these kind of things. Jump down to the 1991 releases, other figures, there we are. Okay, and Tattoo right there. Okay. So, with Tattoo there, let's see, is he one of the heroes or one of the villains? Okay. Apparently he fights on the side of the turtles. Alright, good. He is one of the heroes. But, okay. So I'm going to read you the description real quick, or I'm going to kind of just paraphrase through it. Heckled for being humongous, this heavy hero took his fate into his own hands and joined a secret society to defend his honor. There he was branded Tattoo. Henceforth, he decided to engulf his entire body with tattoos to live up to his name. Now that he's done up his dermis, Tattoo takes his tonnage to the turtle teens to help them fight the Foot. Armed with only his massive muscles and skin illustrations, Tattoo beats the baddies with his bare hands. To further fool the Foot, Tattoo's tattoos even come to life. And when he's not using his scary skin, this inked individual flexes his forearms and funnels his fat to flatten the Foot. And what's more, the green guys really like him, because his tattoos remind them of pizza topping. That's what they came up with back in 1991. Okay, but yeah. So he's one of the good guys. And, of course, he's a tub. No, I shouldn't use that. He is a large figure. He has a wide stance. He has good sculpting on him. He's got some nice paintwork because he doesn't have so much detail in him like a Mutagen Man or a Muck Man. They were able to actually go to town and paint in all the details because there's not much that they need to put paint on. I gotta say, I like his expression because he's just got like that grrr, like he is about to throw himself down and sumo slam you to the end of next year. And also, something that they don't mention on the packaging, or at least that they didn't mention in the description, all of tattoos are stickers. Now, according to what I've read online, there are apparently two different versions of him if you get him like on the original card, in the original packaging. The one version, he already had one of the tattoos applied. I believe it was the roses or whichever flowers those are on his belly there. And the rest you would apply yourself. And to my knowledge, I believe this one is complete. As a matter of fact, hold on a sec. I just remembered that on that page on the Ninja Turtle Virtual Museum, there's actually a picture of all his tattoos from the back of the box. So let's see, he's got that line.
Check, he's got the scorpion. Check, he's got the flying skull. Check, he's got the spider. Check, he's got the sword that says love. Check, he's got the two stitched up wounds. Check, and check, he's got the lightning bolt. Check, and...
Okay, he's missing a couple of stickers, but considering the age of this toy, I'm just glad that he's got as many as he does. Some of the ones that I've had in the past were actually missing a bunch of them. One I had actually had just one sticker stuck on him, and while I had him like stuck in with all the rest of my turtles, that sticker fell off. Took me a long time to find it down in the bottom of that storage tub, I'll tell you what. And it just happened to be the spider sticker. Imagine my surprise when I'm going through the tub and then... because I'm not a fan of spiders, as I may have mentioned in several videos. But anyway, yeah, that's Tattoo. And he only came with one accessory beside his tattoo sheet, which was this dragon staff, I believe it's referred to as. Moving on to the next one on the table, we have one of the neutrinos from Dimension X. We have Zach, I believe his name is. Yeah, that one's Zach. Now this guy came in two different variants. There was this one, and there was one that was released with the Toon Turtles, who had orange hair, and his accessories were all like the same color orange instead of all these purples. I do not happen to own that particular variant yet because, well, I just haven't gotten to them yet. But we're not here to talk about the variants yet. I'm just alluding to what's coming in the future. Now, this guy came with a bunch of accessories. He came with his little hoverboard with the little sticker decal on it that you're supposed to, like, just, plug into the holes on his feet and... he's supposed to hover around on that. He's got good sculpting and good paintwork. He doesn't have a whole lot of detail, as I've mentioned, with, like, Tattoo or, like, say... I'm getting myself mixed up. He's got a decent amount of paintwork for the sculpting that he's got going on. And he also just happens to have a pretty cool expression on his face. I've got his head turned to the side because that's the way I was displaying him. But check that out. He's got those cool glasses on him. He's got that purple hair just like poof, coming out the front of his helmet. I want to say it's a helmet or it's a hood. Not 100% sure. All I can say for certain is I'm glad I have him in my collection. Because if I didn't, that would be another figure I have to track down. Okay, so that's Zach. Oh, and he was one of only 3 neutrinos released in the Ninja Turtles toy line from Playmates, because if I'm not mistaken, only 3 of them ever actually appeared in the show. Zach, Dask, and Kala, K-A-L-A. And they were in the episode Hot Rodding Teenagers from Dimension X. That was also the episode where they first introduced the rock soldiers, Krang's rock troops from Dimension X. And I'm not talking about like rock and roll, I'm talking about like literally rock people. They're made of stone. Okay, next we'll move on to Hose 'em Down Donatello. Now this guy, there's only one variant that I'm currently aware of, but we'll get to that in the video where we get to that. I don't know why, but my head is starting to get itchy. And it's probably just nerves. Anyway, he came with a fire axe, he came with a fire extinguisher, and he was one of the plethora of figures that came with the little Animal Buddy sidekick character. I'm positive they named this figure this Dalmatian, but I do not know what that name is. But he comes with this detachable hose that's kind of articulated and kind of makes a nice little squeaky sound. And yeah, this is one of the few of the sidekick characters that actually applied some paint to. Usually these are all just one color, but they actually gave him like some red dots. They painted his hat. They painted his little fire extinguisher. And yeah, when it comes to Don himself, he's actually got some pretty good paint to him. He's got the Turtles Fire Department printed on his sleeve there and actually painted. Although I don't know why he's got like that one full sleeve there and then this one's all torn off. Like, if he's from the Turtles Fire Department, were they actually given these suits by the fire department? Was it just that like they found these discarded from a costume shop and they just, like customized them with like decals and patches? Who knows what the actual story is behind these costumes? All I know is that is a cool figure. Don't care who you are. Now then, moving on to the next figure on the table, Skateboarding Mike. Give me just a moment. I want to double check myself because I like doing my research. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Scroll up, back out. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yep, Skateboarding Mike. Okay. So Skateboarding Mike is basically just a skateboarding cool dude. You'd probably see this guy sidewalk surfing down the streets of California. He's got himself some very cool... Sorry, I am trying so hard, but my brain keeps trying to shut itself off. He's got some cool gear going on. He's got his elbow and knee pads. Then again, all the turtles have their elbow and knee pads, even when they don't specifically need them for the outfit that they're wearing. And he's being smart. He's wearing his headgear, which is something that not a lot of people do, or did at the time. Because, you know, oh, wearing a helmet's for sissies, and then, you know, they fall and hurt themselves and go, ow, why did that hurt? Because you weren't wearing your helmet, stupid. I don't know why I'm being weird like that. But yeah, and then he's, for some reason, just got like this little sweat towel sticking out the back there. And this guy came with 3 different accessories. He came with his skateboard here, he came with a pair of rollerblades, and he had like one of those little one-handed dumbbells, or little weights. I don't have the weight, unfortunately, but I do have the rollerblades, but they're on this guy's doppelganger, so you'll see that in the next episode. Alright, moving on to the next figure on the table. We have another figure on this from this series that I actually really, really enjoy. I just love this figure. We have Wyrm, W-Y-R-M. Now, obviously, this guy, he looks like he would be right at home with, like, say, the Toxic Crusaders, or one of those kind of toy lines. But this guy came from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, this particular fella, he came with... Hold on, I'm trying to remember how many of the little worm things there were. I think there were 8? 6 or 8. So between 9 and... No, wait. 8, 9, 10, 11. Between 11 and 12 different accessories came with this guy. He has his mallet, which is absolutely just filled with worms, which is kind of gruesome if you think about it, because, you know, he himself is supposed to be kind of a worm character, like he mutated from a worm. And he's got this mallet where every time he uses it, he's crushing his brethren. Then he's got this accessory, which is also technically kind of a buddy character. It's a wrench with a beaver on it. I think, yeah, it's either a beaver or a porcupine. It's hard to tell. And then, of course, he has his belt, which is absolutely just made of worms, all the way around. And the other 6 and or 8 accessories that came with him were these little itty-bitty worms that you would put inside his mouth for his action feature, which is to basically have him just like barf worms onto his enemies. And he's also got this cool action feature where, for one thing, his mouth opens up like this, but when you pull on his hair to open his mouth, boing, his eyes just like pop out of his skull, if he's even got a skull. But yeah, this guy is just a very cool sculpt. He's got like lots of teeth and he's got that tongue in there. He almost, now that I think about it, he almost looks like that guy from Beetlejuice. You guys know the one. Adam, I think it is. At the point in the movie where he and Barbara are trying to scare away the homeowners, so he just like grabs his nose and pulls his face out to there, like puts his eyes on his fingers and stuff. Doesn't he kind of remind you of him in that form? A little bit? Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, that is Wyrm. And don't you forget it. Alright, moving to the next figure on the table. Let's just move these guys up because I'm running out of room on that side. We'll start from the farthest end, and I will introduce you all to Chrome Dome. He's another one of the villain characters. And I should let you know that Worm is one of the good guys. But anyway, we've got Chrome Dome. He is, like I just said, one of the villains. He was created by Shredder, I think. Sorry, at this point in the series, my mind's a little jumbled because, yeah, there's just too much. He's got this cool chrome detailing going on across most of his body. He came with several accessories, which I do not recall right off the top of my head how many he had. I believe this is either all of it or he's like missing one sword. He came with this flail thingamabob, this spiked whip thing. Came with this little knife. He came with this belt, which has 2 slots for swords, but because of the wings that are on his back, which are detachable, let me just fiddle with that one a little bit. Yeah, they are detachable. They just kind of hook in via little pegs on the back, like so. And unfortunately, this is one of those figures that are notorious for being hard to get to stand up on your shelf for display. The way his feet are right now, that is the only way to get this guy to stand up. And that is if you're lucky. That's why if you've got his accessories with him, he almost has to have his accessories to help counterbalance his weight so he actually remains standing and doesn't just fall off your shelf. He's got a lot of cool sculpting to him. He's got kind of a samurai aesthetic to him. Like his head kind of looks like a samurai helmet. On the whole, he is just a really cool looking villain. His paintwork's kind of simple. You know, he's just got some silvers and he's got some blues and he's got some red like in his eyes, but I like him. Oh, and he also has hidden behind his belt some more little tiny detailing. Like he's got red buttons and dots and stuff going on. So yeah, that's another cool figure from my collection. Moving on down the table, we have... Now this guy, his name and just the look and aesthetic of this figure just appeals to me. I'm not entirely sure 100% why, but I just like him. Behold, the villainous bull, Ground Chuck. And for those of you who know, ground chuck is actually a type of, a type of meat. Chuck is a type of cut of beef, like a chuck roast, chuck steak. I think chuck steak is a thing. If it isn't, then, well, it isn't. But he's like a partially cyborg bull. He's got his robo leg, he's got his robo horn and eye. He kind of looks like the Terminator. Although he obviously is not. He came with a bunch of accessories too, like this 2-part gun right here, where you can actually take this piece off. Give me just a second. Like so. And he's got like a crossbow kind of thing, and then he's got like this rifle down here. Just kind of pop that back together so I don't go losing any of his pieces. Come on, please just pop back in there. Thank you. And then he's got this other gun over here on this side, which has whatever this swirly-do is coming out the end. Then he's got this like little wrist cannon. And he's also got what's left of his hair that hasn't been covered over by the metal parts is shaved down into a nice little crew cut. Now this figure has some nice detailing on him like most of the rest of the Ninja Turtles figures. He's got like these cool muscles poking out. He's got branding on him. And I don't mean branding like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, not sponsored. I'm talking about like, say, where someone actually came up to him and because he was in the foot, they actually branded him with the foot insignia right there. I don't know if y'all can even see that, but I'm hoping you can. And yeah, that is Ground Chuck. And he's another one of the figures I have that actually has a variant. So you'll see that version of this guy in the next video. Alright, next, moving our way down the table, we have Razar. For those of you in the know, you know exactly where this one's from. This guy is one of the villain characters created by... sorry, I just do not know the name of that scientist. But you know the scientist, the one British guy. I did a terrible British accent just then, and if any of my viewers are British, I am terribly sorry. It will happen again in the future. I cannot say that it won't, but I'm just going to apologize preemptively. I'll just read you the description from the packaging real quick, kind of streamline this a little bit. Razar was once in the city zoo until his master, Shredder, rescued him, oozed him, and turned him into one Wailing Wolf, without a license. This ravaging rover won't roll over and play dead until the turtles are sewer soup. Razar is a trained top-notch turtle tracker who can smell a shelled hero from here to eternity. He's just not housebroken. So be careful after he downs a dozen donuts, especially the ooze-filled kind, that's another reference to the movie, sucking up the sweet and sweaty sewer scent near their junkyard playground. Ugh. Razar tosses a scrap engine block and plays catch with his friend Tuka for fun. And when playtime's over, Razar takes up the footlight against the turtles. That's a weird thing, footlight. Against the turtles, where the movie, The Secret of the Ooze, left off. See? The tasty teens better beware of Razar's rippin' razor-sharp paws. It should be razor-sharp claws. But the tasty turtle teens better beware of Razar's rippin' razor-sharp paws. One pounce, and the turtles will be turned and torn into tender tummy tidbits. They worded this weird. When Razar returns to his roost, Shredder rewards him with a beef-basted beast biscuit. Anyway, yeah, that was what was written on the card. Okay, and he came with 3 different accessories. He came with his tombstone shield. He came with his spider mace stick thing. And he came with a 3rd accessory, which was kind of a skull club. I think that's literally what they call it. Where it's got an articulated little jaw on the end of it, and it's like the same color green plastic. It's a pretty cool little accessory. Now when it comes to the figure himself, he's got some pretty decent sculpting. He kind of resembles the character from the movies, created by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. Again, also not sponsored. I'm going to try very carefully to move his arm down a bit so you can see his face better. There we go. He's kind of got more of a glam rock version of the Razar from the movies. Look at all that eyeliner he's got going on. Sheesh. But, yeah. And he also, like I was saying, has some good sculpting on him. I just said that twice. And for some reason, I think in the cartoon, if I'm not mistaken, he appeared in like an episode along with Toka, which is the reason why they were able to put these guys in the regular cartoon packaging and not in the Secret of the Ooze movie packaging. Regardless, that is Razar. Moving on down the table, again, we now have Toka. Now, Toka, this guy is almost one-to-one, visually speaking, with his movie counterpart. He just, like, looks just like Toka from the movie, at least in the face sculpt. The body doesn't really leave too much to be desired either, but there's something interesting, and I mentioned this back in that last video I did. So I'm going to bring that up now, while I'm thinking about it. There's a little bitty thing with Toka there. That thing, my dear viewers, is the fact that Playmates Toys, being the way that they are, in order to save money on tooling costs and stuff to keep producing figures, to make Toka, they took Slash and they just redesigned him. See? It's literally Slash's body with a new head, new forearms. And of course, instead of having like these, they gave Toka these spiky little protrusions that come off of his arms. And if you think I'm joking, the details even all the way down to his stubby little turtle tail. See, there's Slash's little stubby turtle tail, waggle waggle. And here's Toka's stubby little turtle tail, waggle waggle. There you go. That's all that's been building up from that episode prior. But, yeah, since I went over the sculpt... Well, no, I didn't go over the sculpting on Slash all that much last time. So, he's got good sculpting on him. He's got, like, all those cool, bodacious shell spikes. He's got the little tail with little spikes running down to the end down here. He's got his weapons, which are literally just Slash's weapons, molded in black. And he actually has himself a different belt. This isn't the Slash belt. This is Toka's own belt, which has the foot insignia right there. It's got some more skulls and crossbones, which are hard to tell because my lighting sucks. So yeah, there you go. That has been Toka! I used to be able to do such a perfect impersonation of Toka. Like, I'll give a quick example. I think I can pull it off at least one last time. Where Shredder comes in and he's like, he's saying, "Call me master." And then Razor's like, "Ma, ma, mama, mama." And, you know, they start going over to Shredder and acting like he's their mama. But anyway, that's Toka. And for the last figure on the table, and to kind of wrap up this half of the review real quick, we have Make My Day Leo. Obviously, he is a policeman, or at least he's supposed to be. He's got his riot shield for the turtle... I don't know what this one actually is. THP. Turtle Something Force. Or, no, Turtle Something Patrol. Oh, Turtle Highway Patrol. I am an idiot. Okay, he's supposed to be like a motorcycle cop. On that note, I actually just acquired a new turtle cycle. It doesn't happen to have the little sidecar that goes with it, but I think that actually might pair up nicely with him when I put him back on display. Like I was saying, he's supposed to be a motorcycle cop, and now, having just put that together, I could have him riding on this extra turtle cycle. Okay. So with that all said, oh, I'm being so mean to this figure. He's the last one, and I'm just like trying to cruise on through this without getting into detail. And I'm also trying to cut down on the length of the video because I'm sure some of you are getting annoyed by this point. But he's got his Billy Club nunchuck over here. He's got his riot shield. He has his belt, and I think this guy's complete. I think he's got all his accessories. I could be wrong. And on that note, with the handy-dandy power of the internet, whip out my phone and doodly-doo-doo, get back onto that website again, and there he is, Make My Day Leo. Double check. Oh, he is in fact actually missing one accessory. He had a mutant magnum that was supposed to come with him. So he is not complete, unfortunately. And I believe there is actually... I think I might be wrong on this, but I believe there is a slight color variant on the paintwork on this guy that I just don't happen to own yet. I'll have to do more research on that before, you know, the next video. But this guy's got good detailing. You know, he's got like the motorcycle cop thing going on. And if I'm being brutally honest, this guy kind of reminds me of the villain from that one Terminator movie. You guys know the one if you've seen it. He was like a more high-tech version of the Terminator, but he was made out of mercury, I think. You know, that metal that can like turn liquid at room temperature, because he was able to do all that stuff where he's like turning his arms into like knives and all that. Doesn't he kind of have that same vibe to him as that guy? I don't know. I could just be trying to hype up a pretty normal action figure. But with that said, oh, and as I was saying before when I was talking about, forget which one, talking about how they had the knee pads and elbow pads even when they don't need them for their outfit. Case in point, I don't think police officers run around wearing knee and elbow pads like that. But, you know, I don't know 100% for certain. On that note, though, that wraps up that wraps up part 1 of 2 of this particular episode of Putting Shells on Shelves. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for coming back and watching another video. I do truly and greatly appreciate it. If you like what you've seen here today, make sure you come back for the next episode. And to make sure that you're able to get the notification for that, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified of future uploads. That's how you'll know when episode 2 of this comes out. You'll be glad you did. Share this video with your friends if you think they'll like them. Or if you're not sure, share it anyway. You might be surprised. I have been. And with all of that, happy hullabaloo and horse hockey out of the way. This is your old buddy Oxleymations saying, Cowabunga, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.